Mhm. Thank you, everybody, for attending. This is the next event in the AI Horizons series. Let me peek over here. Today we have Ash Castellino. He's going to talk about agentic AI, and there's an RS. Is it RSO? Can we safely call it an
Yeah,
RSO? Or
yeah,
okay. And him and his group and Disruption Lab were a part of hosting, I mean, maybe you'll talk about this a little bit, but an event, an agentic AI event over at Geese, which went really well, and we had a good turnout there. And he's going to talk to us about agentic AI. So, Ash, if you want to take over. Oh, if
yeah.
anybody has any questions, sorry, you can either interject softly or feel free to put it in chat, and then Ash can peek at it, or I'll peek at it and raise my hand or whatever. So, okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Jamie. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I just graduated from the University of Illinois, did both my undergrad, my master's right here. During my time, I got to have the privilege to found a student organization on campus called Agentic AI at UIUC. We're the largest AI club on campus with over 500 members, and we've been on campus for about 2 semesters. So today, I'm going to talk more about, just what our club does, but more broadly about what the students on our campus are doing. Like, what are they building? Some of the projects we've built across the last 2 semesters, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So feel free to, like raise hand, ask questions. I want this to be like more like a back and forth than just me, talking throughout the presentation. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and let's start. So let's just give a quick, small rundown on how did the club grow to about 500 members. So when I was about a year ago, so towards my first semester of my senior year in college, I was looking to learn a lot about just AI in general, but I also wanted to see the more of the practical application of AI. So whenever any new technology wave kind of takes off, you're very excited about, oh, this is like the next big thing, right? But you also want to see how does it actually create an impact. So I wanted kind of those both sides as well. And while I was looking for courses across campus, I found courses which teach the concepts but not actually showing how you can apply it. And I felt like many clubs on campus weren't focused on that. Either they were just not that into AI because AI was fairly new at the time, or they weren't focused on more the practical side of AI. That's what got me to start Agentic AI at UIUC. And across 2 semesters, we have done numerous, more than 50 plus lectures, more than 30 workshops across using Claude Code, which is a coding agent, and OpenClaw as well, which is like a new, like another just full AI agent tool out there. And we've done more than 10 plus projects or 20 plus projects, but I'll show some of our projects which we have done throughout the semester as well. But yeah, just make sure I have no questions. Yeah. Yeah, so our model is very simple. So we have lectures, and right after lectures, you focus on building. And our core belief is, which is like one of Professor Vishal, who's a MSBA director at Keys College of Business, which is like learn to build, build to learn. So which is like idea is you learn by basically building. And in the past, pre-AI, it was a lot harder to build because you had to either like build the environment into a computer, get the right language. You got to know the coding language to do. You got to connect a lot of different dots basically. AI has made that a lot easier, and I wanted to be, my club to kind of function on that core focus, which is we will teach you the concepts, but after that, you focus on building as well. So that's what our core belief was, and I'll talk more on like how it kind of works and what we've built throughout the semester as well. So this is our education curriculum. So what I've taught, I have a team of 5 execs as well who've helped me out greatly teaching these concepts. So this is kind of a high level overview. We had one lecture every week. We cover stuff like prompt engineering. How do you build a memory system for agents? What is like RAG is like another popular concept. We taught our students how to build voice agents, multi-agent systems. How do you evaluate the output of these agents to make sure that they're in line with the business goals? So that was what I was trying to mainly focus on. So the goal was, obviously teaching all these technical concepts, but we also showed how the business world is actually applying it. So, like, kind of marrying both the technical side and the business side together, because, you know, seeing these technologies are really cool, super exciting, but you want to see it have actual impact, right? Solving business problems. That is important. And that's what we have focused on throughout our curriculum as well. But so why do we like, why teach this now, right? I mean, like, yeah, everyone has heard about AI, everyone's heard about agents. This is like, yeah, I think there's a question in the chat. Who was teaching these sessions for the most part? For the most part, just fully college students, obviously. I taught a good amount of the lectures, about 40% of the lectures. And I also had a team of about four other students, mostly undergrads, who were also helping me out teach the lectures as well. And they also, I can taught the lectures, and I took a personal initiative to do workshops as well. So, but it was mostly among 4 to 5 execs. Based on your own research, etc. I'm sorry, what do you mean, like based on my own research? Like you mean like how did we get the knowledge or to
Yeah,
teach?
exactly. Like you studied it on your own, you practiced it on your own, you developed the knowledge, and then you taught it to others.
No, that's a very good question. And a lot of people ask me, like, how do I know this stuff? And I just say ChatGPT. I think if you use ChatGPT properly, you can learn a lot. And personally, I've learned all of my stuff by doing just prompting AI, ChatGPT a million times if I understand the concept, and also building projects personally to learn those concepts as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I'll be more than glad to answer. Yeah. So why teach this now, right? So this is a bit interesting because we are living in this world where like we think everyone talks about AI, right? I mean everyone does talk about AI. We have a summer AI school about it. But I went to New York just a month ago with my family, and I think I saw like just one AI billboard, which is like it's kind of like crazy to think because a couple weeks before that I went to SF and it was just completely AI. Like from my airport to my hotel it was like AI this, AI that. Pretty much an AI for everything. Right? That's the world we live in. But when I was in New York, there was like one big AI billboard about an AI law firm, but that's it. So we're still like in a very early innings of a major technology breakthrough, right? And you would think everyone is using AI, but this is like kind of like a chart I found online. So the gray dots are the people who have never used AI. And what is more interesting is the ones who have used AI, majority of them have just never gone past ChatGPT. But the thing is, to get the value of AI, like it's not just ChatGPT, right? Like you cannot tell somebody, yeah, I know how to do Google search, so I'm actually up to date with the technology and up to date with what's happening. The real value goes just beyond just a simple chatbot, right? ChatGPT is great. Any simple chat questions, I still go to it every day. That goes, it's the best tool for that. But to extract the value, you have to go beyond that. And this is what like my club wants to tackle is to prepare students for just an era just beyond just a simple chatbot, right? Many of our students, when they join our club, they just know how to use the chatbot. They obviously know ChatGPT, but I'm like, that's great. And maybe today you're like an outlier because current this chart, you're still like somebody who's still ahead of AI technically, but that's not really going to help you with your career, right? You like no company is going to hire an employee just because they know how to use ChatGPT. So our core concepts are like ideas fully focused on educating students and building agents. Basically, an AI which is able to extract information, think on its own, and use the right tools to answer any given question or to solve any given problem. My job was to teach these students how to build that environment. So that's what pretty much what we have focused on and what like high level of our mission statement is. But let's talk about what we've built throughout the semester, right? So we had the great privilege of one is working with, I'll talk more about that as well, but just a high level overview if I dive deeper, we have done last semester, we did 8 internal AI projects, so 8 critical projects, and we've done more than 20 plus open source projects. So projects just, me and a couple of people building for the club, but which is just more out there for the rest of the world. But we have 8 core important projects we've built. So one of the things we built is a system called Reserve. So Reserve is basically an AI agent or like an autonomous booking system. which helps like fabrication labs with or like machine shops with booking. So this is more of like, I must say, is a client focused project. And I'll tell you why. So we are at Siebel Center for Design, which is where all our lectures and our workshops happen. And we just have a booking system to book rooms, and we just absolutely like dislike the booking system. It was just like very unstructured. We just didn't like. It was not like in this today's world. Like that's like it was kind of an outdated system, basically. We didn't like when you have to book a system, we have to like book a room a week in advance, and then they have to approve it. It was very manual, tedious work. So we sent an email to SCD. We were like, hey, we love what you guys do. We love SCD in general, and it's a great environment to be in. And we would love to build something for you. So they were like, we already have a new booking software we're going to work with, but hey, we have a machine shop down, which people use. We would love to have your expertise on that. And then we built out a booking system, which is called Reserve. And what we're proud of it is we went from identifying the problem to building a solution within 1 month. So all that happened 1 month, and we tested this as well. So we tested it with 100 users, and it completely was flawlessly working on the demo day as well. So we went from identifying the problem to building the solution all within a time span of 1 month, or even like 4 weeks. So and we have to be grateful. Like I'm grateful to the AI tools we have out there. The coding tools out there. Without that, this would not be possible. Something which would have taken 2 semesters was completed in less than a month. So that's like one of the powers of AI, and our students have been in the forefront of that. This was a second project we built, a medical voice agent, which basically helps, if you go to clinics or hospitals, when you have to call them, it's always a human who picks it up, and then they like figure it out, okay, this doctor is available for your appointment. But before that, they got to know, okay, who are you? What's your medical background? Any information that they could use. So we, a team of 4 developers in my club, built this project, and we also got the opportunity to present to somebody in Carl as well. And he's the professor for them, and he said that if he gets the funding for this project, he would love to work with us to actually go forward with this project as well. So this was another cool project we built, kind of like built by our students, impact on our campus itself. So this is another cool project we have built, and we are proud of this as well. Another project we built, which is a health search agent, which basically the idea was that a lot of people search a lot of medical information online, but either Google is not the right platform to do it, or there's no AI tools don't know much about you as a person, because what your medical background is different from my medical background, right? So when we both search the same topic, we both should be getting tailored responses, because our medical backgrounds have a very big role in how we should be perceiving this information. This is what we built a healthcare search agent for. We're also, this was a project we built this semester. This was more like an internal project, so we didn't really get to showcase this to any client as such. But this was a project we're also extremely proud of building across last semester as well. So this is another cool project we built, Food Fighter project. Our technical lead on this project got featured on Daily Illini as well, because the project was very cool. So it's like you have a lot of student clubs on campus. They have a lot of events happening, but they have all this food lying around, which they don't know what to do with it. So we built a system which scrapes social media platforms of them with their obviously knowing, and gives and lets students on campus know about free food on campus. It's a two-way thing. Clubs get the recognition on campus because now more people know about their club and what they do, and students get to know about free food as well. So this was like a free food, experiment we did, which we're also extremely proud of. As I mentioned, our technical lead got mentioned on Daily Illini, and this service is now also in I don't know which university. I think it's Purdue as well. Has like a similar concept they applied from our club's Food Finder project as well. So we have started here. We're expanding across the US kind of system as well. So yeah, but yeah, these are some other projects we've built. We built an equity research analyst agent, which basically creates company public filings to give investment recommendations. A portfolio manager agent, which listens to your financial goals and gives a good detailed portfolio across stocks, bonds, currencies, crypto, if you're also into that. We have the music recommendation system agent, which looks at your taste and recommends you music. Sports analyst agent, which if you guys into fantasy football or fantasy soccer, we built a agentic system which helps you build a good team to get like points in this fantasy Premier games as well. So it was mostly focused on soccer on the Premier League, which is like an English soccer league as well. So there's a couple of projects, but my goal was like, with all these projects is like, yes, we should solve a problem, but I also wanted to make sure that this problem is something the students face as well. Because when you personally face a problem, you are more incentivized to actually go and solve it compared to somebody who just hands off you a project and say, hey, just go build this project for me. So, what we did is before we started our semester, we always listened to, hey, like what projects are you all looking for? And then we get those feedback, listen to our like exec team, and then we pick the project. So that's why our projects are like a mix of solving a problem with something like college students face as well. College students use sports apps a lot, so that was something we thought was cool. Everyone listens to music. Everyone loves free food. That goes without saying. So we picked a project which does that as well. And this was a problem students clubs faced as well because they have a lot of free food after events. They don't know what to do with them. So it was a two-sided win as well. And then other projects as well, healthcare. We personally faced issues when we have to call, any medical provider immediately. So these are our projects were a combination of students getting excited, but at the same time solving a problem. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a high level of our projects is basically all of our agentic systems which we built are based on completely real facts. So we use real data. We did research before we actually start building them out, and we obviously like use an LLM while building the system as well. So this is kind of like a high level common side of all our projects as well. So my final like recommendation to all of you like educators are that like when it comes to like knowledge, I'm very confidently saying like you guys definitely know more on your respective domain and expertise than I do. So your knowledge as well, but the world we're living in is constantly changing, and just a simple like education system is going to change a lot in the future, and AI is going to be a major factor of it. Simple lectures are like outdated because the lecture is supposed to now just be like a setup. Basically, it gets you going, but building projects is the best way to actually learn the concepts as well. And we live today that we are privileged that we can actually do that. AI has given any non-developer, any non-technical person the ability to actually build out projects to learn. So this would be my final recommendation. The lecture is the setup, but the repository is the exam. So basically the project is the way to grade the outcome of whether, hey, the student has actually learned the concept or not. So that would be my thing. And obviously like I can share our resources as well and the slides as well. If you want to take a look at our projects, I posted videos of all of our projects on LinkedIn as well. So you can see more of like a video of all our projects as well. But yeah, that's all I have. That's obviously our GitHub. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll obviously share the resources as well. And I would love to answer any questions you have. Thank you. Yeah. Really cool projects. How do you ensure the security of the systems and index cybersecurity? That's a good question. I mean, obviously like these are student projects, so we never looked at like cybersecurity was not on top of our bucket list. But one of the things we obviously are recommending, like, like for example, our client project we worked on is like, if any project like this one is everything is hosted on their cloud provider. So if they have like Azure or AWS, we recommend like we're going to work with clients in the future as well. And when we spoke to the clients, we've said that, hey, like whatever projects we're going to build is going to be on your hosted service provider. So either AWS or Azure. So the data we use to build the agents on top is secure in their environment. So that's what we'd be. I mean, that's what I would say. Like, putting on like AWS, Azure is a safe way. But to be honest, like I know like cybersecurity could be a major thing because if you guys know, there's a new model which came out by Anthropic, which is like Mythos, which kind of broke every cybersecurity guardrail there is. So our software systems in the present aren't actually built for the future. So, this is a very good question, and I can't give a straightforward answer to this. I'm going to be honest, but hopefully, I'm pretty confident the cloud service providers are going to get ahead of this at one point, and they would know what they know what they're doing. So I'm pretty confident in them. So yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah. Are all members paying for Claude and GPT? Yeah, that's a good question. So all our members use Claude Code, and we had the Claude Builder Club come to one of our lectures and sign up everyone to get a Claude Pro plan for 6 months. So all of them were using the Claude Pro plan and using Claude Code to build it out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how we did. Yeah, how many of these projects considered the ethics of AI agents, considering the fairness and accuracy algorithms? Yeah, I mean, so all of our agentic systems, one of the things we made it compulsory is like everybody should have like an eval system as well to like evaluate the output as well. So whenever a project starts, all of our technical leads do research and considering, okay, like what is considered a good output, like as and whatever output our agents give should always be cited or sourced, so we know they're not hallucinating while giving an output as well. So a combination of agents citing their outputs and using a very strong eval data set was our way to consider the ethics side of it. Yeah. Are you able to walk through any of the apps and screen share? Would be cool to actually see one, like any of the projects. Yeah, I mean, actually, I can show you a video if like of our project. So give me 1 second. I have it right here. Let me just. Okay, yeah. So let me share my screen again. Yeah, so as I mentioned, you can go through our LinkedIn and find some projects as well. Um, this was one of the members. They built an equity analyst project, so I can show that as well. I can just mute this. Yeah, so this was the code they were showing, and I can show some more projects as well. But basically, the agent does research, looks at SEC filings to analyze company financial documents and the fundamentals. And let's just show you the output as well. So yeah, this is like, if you can see, so when you run our system, it makes you a report. And as you can see, the report out there shows the information about it. I want to show another one as well. So this was another one we built out, which was a healthcare search agent, which I showed. I can show this as well. Yeah. So that's like a project. Obviously, feel free to check it out. You find a bunch of more projects as well. This is what we built out for SCD last semester. So just to give you a background, they use Discord for all of their activities. So they can not book, like all their machines have like a manual system where like the person says, "Hey, I want this." They look at the queue, which was like a whiteboard, and they say, "Okay, I'm fifth in the queue, sixth in the queue." So now they can join the queue directly on Discord itself rather than doing it manually through a whiteboard. That's how it kind of worked in the past for them. So now we move them completely online. So yeah. And just background production is them actually doing the work. Training is the staff needs to come and help them train. So when they're training, they go on top of the queue immediately as well. So just to give you,
Ash, we can't hear right this second. Yeah.
oh, oh my bad. You guys can't hear
Yeah.
me? Oh, I mean
Yeah.
the
We can't hear the
thing.
video. Yeah.
Oh, you can hear the video, right?
I can hear you, but I can't hear the
Oh,
video.
you can't hear the video.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I guess I was showing you my apologies on that. But yeah, I can give you a rundown. So as I mentioned, that's how the system works. So the person says, "Hey, I want to book a room." Their name shows up here. When it's their turn, they get a message immediately on their phone. Hey, it's your turn to go and use the machine. They use the machine, and that's what happened. So then we also made like an admin side as well. So the admin is the one who kind of runs the office, and they want to have like analytics as well. So in the past, they couldn't see the data. So they couldn't see which colleges are using my systems the most. Oh, like what time are they using it? Oh, what are the most machines used? This was very important data that they couldn't do in the past, or they didn't really have the resources to, access that. So we built a system for that as well. So this all does that. We built a chatbot for them. So we built a chart assistant, so they can write in English, and it automatically makes a chart for them for the admins. So in this case, I said that it made a chart, top 5 majors, and then I can either pin the chart, it'll show up in my dashboard, or if I don't choose, like, so pins shows up in the dashboard. If they want, they can unpin it. If they don't like it, and it goes away. And the admin has other stuff as well, where they could, see and like fiddle around and be like, hey, this machine is having maintenance, put it on maintenance. Oh, my staff needs new account access, click staff, give account access. So that's what we worked on. We've done a lot. So this is another cool project we checked out. This was, if you remember, I spoke about Daily Illini. He was on Daily Illini. One more project, yeah, that he's built it on. It's another cool project I would like to show you guys. So let me see if I could quickly get that. That's like the last. Oh yeah, this was an OpenClaw workshop we conducted last semester. OpenClaw is like an autonomous agent which works 24/7. And we conducted a workshop. We had Red Bull sponsor the drinks. We had donuts. We had about 80 people show up for this. So this was one of the workshops we conducted. This is the biggest OpenClaw workshop in UIUC as of right now. So that was something we did. And we did this all in, so this was a completely last second. We did this all in 1 week, like getting everything and doing that. So this was like, we were like, we have to do this. We saw U Michigan do it, and we're like, we have to do something similar. So we did that. Let me show you. Yeah, I obviously wanted to talk about Geese AI for Impact Challenge as well. This was it's like obviously outside of education, but we believe that everyone should be building, not just engineering students. So we got the opportunity to work with the Geese College of Business to have a Geese AI for Impact Challenge where business students are building solutions to actually solve problems. So that was a really cool experience. I had the great privilege of helping out. Let me show you one last thing. Yeah, this is another one. So we encourage all our developers to individually build it out and post on social media as well, because you have to show your work to the public to get recognition. So one of our developers built out, if you know, like NCAA Final Four was going on, so he built out a system to help like predict who's going to go to the Final Four, and he used like a local model to do it as well, which is like something cool as well. So the model was run locally on his computer. And yeah, this was a project I built. This is like a small project we tried out. Basically, like if you look at any big city, they have a lot of data points. Like every big city has a bunch of traffic, right? Whenever an accident happens, a lot of traffic. Actually, yeah, a lot of traffic happens. If there was a way that immediately when an accident happens, there was a way to like divert, not I would say divert traffic, but the people who are responsible for it knows ASAP, and they give out a proper plan. Okay, like we should divert traffic here and there to like less traffic. So this is something we built out. This is the last project I'll show. Sorry if I'm like boring, getting you guys a bit bored, but something cool we built out. So we call it. So it shows you we use Chicago for this case. So it shows you Chicago. So this is actually so data points are simulated, so they're not real, but the city and information is all real information as well. So we basically Chicago, the red ones are where all accidents are happen. These are where all the bus routes are. So when you click plan for any accident, it looks at, okay, what are the nearby locations I need to look at? What are the nearby bus stops? Are there any schools nearby? Basically, before I make a plan, what is the important context I need to know? So the planning does that, and it generates a plan. So the human does not need to figure all that out. They need to just have the AI make a plan, and the human just approves the plan. So this is like the future of what we think, the job market's going to head to, the world's going to head towards. And okay, this is the plan. I execute the plan, and then based on plan, it creates all the traffics. The red lines are like, okay, like this is where yeah, these are just lines which need to be made. basically like where the cars can't go. Yeah, this was something I built out. Yeah, but that's it. That's pretty much um, what I did. And sorry, I have a couple of messages I might have. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Patricia.
Yeah, Patricia, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Ash. Thanks for coming and giving this very interesting presentation. And it's very rich, of course. I have actually two questions. One is like specifically for you, but one might actually solicit input from other people. So let me start with the first one. These different tools that you're showing us, or these things you're building, are they actually open publicly right now, or are they sort of behind a password and you're still working on them and testing them? So that's my first question. And then my second question, I'm interested because you mentioned how much you rely on Claude, right? And Claude is the only platform that well, it's the platform that the U of I does not have. I'll just put it that way. Or
Yeah.
we don't have like an enterprise access to it, or the kind of access that will shield our data from being used in the model. So I'm curious about that. Why you're using Claude, and obviously it's probably better, but I'd like you to speak to that
Yeah.
yourself, and so I'd like to hear about both of those things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for your question. So, for your first question, our projects are completely open source, so the code is public, so anyone can access our repositories and see it. In terms of like our first project reserve is being used in SCD, so that project is being actually implemented. Our Food Finder project is used by college students on campus. So that's what's happening, and we're waiting for like funding for the other project. But those are the three main projects we are like actively pursuing going forward. Our approach is like building fast. So we build a project, we figure out, hey, it's not going that far, then build another project. So that's how we kind of go towards. So like we hope that in the fall, instead of having one project per semester, we can increase it to one project every 3 weeks. So we build, we learn the project's not going far, scrap it, build another one. So that's how we have an approach. Towards your second question, to be honest with you, like today, like the models have really gotten good, and not just from Anthropic, but even from OpenAI's Codex is as good as the Claude models as well. There's another open source model which is called GLM 5.2, which is open source. So you can like run the model completely on your own infrastructure without paying Anthropic or any third-party provider. And the model is as good in coding as the best one. So the options are like humongous. So even if you go with Codex, you're not making a mistake. It's as good. It's and coming more like obviously like coding is like, to be honest, like I don't think you can ever go wrong if you pick an open source model or if you pick Claude Code or if you pick Codex. Like the models have gotten really good. The real question is what can you do with it? So well, I hope that answered your question. But yeah, I mean, Claude Code was lucky because they were the first ones to kind of come up with that. Like terminal, like having a coding agent was not really a concept people thought, and then Anthropic tested with it. It was like an experiment, to be honest. So they didn't even know that it was going to be a big deal, and it completely changed the industry. So that's why they kind of got the upper leap. But like nowadays, like a lot of the companies have caught up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you have any other questions? Yeah.
I have a question if nobody
Yeah.
has one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an RSO, which I
Yeah.
think is really fascinating. And you have 500 members, you said, or 500 plus members right now.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about how people work together in groups on this. This is what I find fascinating. You have a common goal, and in order to work using AI, you've got to be sort of in this kind of square interface,
Yeah.
right? Coding. How do people work in teams on such a project?
So one of the things we have pretty much made it compulsory is that we don't do online meetings. So we fully believe in in-person meetings. So we believe that, like AI is now able to do a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff. The human connection is what matters the most. So I've made it very clear with all our groups is we don't do online meetings. We recommend as many in-person meetings as possible. So our teams meet 2 to 3 times a week minimum. And
Mhm.
what they do is they meet up, they decide, hey, like, what has been built out in the past week. So like, or like in the past week, okay, like you had to do this. Did you complete your task? How did you do it? Then everybody discusses with that. Okay, this is something interesting. So we basically encourage more in-person discussions. And yeah, that's I would say that would be a way. So we make it very clear in day one itself that we prefer in-person meetings and in-person discussions. We don't do online meetings. And like obviously the people get to choose, hey, do they want to continue? But yeah, that's what I would say was our approach. Yeah. And I think in the past would have been like once a week, but now we make it like 3 to 4 times a week. But we also make sure that it's very structured, right? Like, okay, what have you built last week? What is the issue you've come across? An open discussion with other members. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions?
I have another.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your
I have
question.
another
Thank you.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, this is sort of a general question because anytime I teach students and I teach translation, so I try to encourage students to read a lot about everything about the world, about the news, especially, and I ask them every time I say, do you keep up with the news, right? Or what do you actually, what my question is, what do you do to keep up with the news? And the question is, I don't read much about the news. And I noticed that you seem to be pretty aware of sort of the developments in AI and different companies and what they're doing and their relationships to one another and the times at which different products have come out and so forth. You seem to have a foot in that door, so to speak. And I imagine people in your RSO do. So what do you read?
Yeah.
What do you read to keep up with all of this? How
No.
what
Yeah.
are people what are young people reading
That's
to
a good.
keep up?
That's a good question actually. So I haven't like I follow a lot of like AI people in X or Twitter, whatever they call it. So I like follow a lot of AI scientists, AI engineers, people who are up to date with that. I also like basically my social media is completely filled with AI people. Like people are into AI. So nowadays, because like agents are also having social media platforms, so it's kind of to be very specific. So LinkedIn, I follow a bunch of people who are in AI. X, a bunch of people are in AI. And what I did also is in every lecture we have, our first 10 to 15 minutes is what is happening in the AI market. So I make it compulsory for every member in our club to read something. If they don't, like I know their names, I call them out. So it's kind of like I encourage them still. So that's what we do. So on our lecture slides, if you go to our club repository, you can see our lecture slides. Our first 4 slides are literally what new AI model has come out, any new AI development, any new AI tool which could make better. And then I show what I have read, and then I ask the members, what have you read? And then we have like a discussion for like 20 minutes on, hey, like this was interesting. What do you think about that? So that's what I would say was my go-to way. So I learned actually from them telling me as well. So just social media plus active, engagement with the community has helped.
Is so you all, of course, host events and education and stuff. Are there other places that one could start to learn agentic? Okay, so I messed around. I was like, okay, let me dive into agentic. So I started, hey, I want an agent for this, an agent for this, and then it got into coding and stuff, which scared me or whatever. But anyway, how would you suggest an older, I don't want to label anybody, but faculty, staff member kind of get started in learning more of the agentic stuff?
No, I mean that's a good question. So you're like, I know like code can be frightening because when you ask a system, hey, can you teach this, and then it goes out and build. But like I would say, don't be scared is what I would say. Like in the past, you might have to understand like every line of code, and that could be frightening because you're like, oh, like I have to read like every single line to read. But now it's like you kind of trust the system to do the right job. Like and my way would be like, interestingly, how I got interested was like I felt I personally felt a problem in my day to day. And I was like, I just want to build something to solve that problem. And then I just started building stuff. And that's what actually kind of gave me, I guess, the ability to learn more as well. So obviously, your education professors, professors, you're in the education system, find a problem you guys face, maybe in a daily, maybe a part of your work life, and be like, hey, can I build something that actually could automate that? Because that gives you like a personal incentive to actually learn, because the value you get value from the output, right? If this actually does the job, it makes your life a lot easier. So I would say that's what would be my recommendation. Yeah. Yeah,
Anyone
so
else
I
have?
yeah.
Oh no, well, I don't know if you have something to, but
No, no,
Patricia,
I
you're
just had
still on
to,
camera. Do you have another burning question? You have the good questions.
Well, I guess, there's always, I mean, I actually have a little bit of a background in coding and I have a lot of, so I'm not scared of anything if I'm the one you're talking about, Jamie. And I've been teaching AI based tools for a long time. In translation, translators, people don't realize that translators and very now interpreters are, this is a new thing for interpreters, but translators have been using AI in the loop for a long time. They've been required. You can't work in the translation and industry if you don't use complex AI based neural machine translation based tools. So I'm not a stranger to any of that. Um, but I want to say that I wanted to ask whether there are in your work with the other students, there might be things you haven't thought of. I mean, are there ethical concerns that arise? Because whenever I start building something or I start working with an AI tool and I come up with ideas, I immediately come up with ethical concerns about everything because they're valid. And I'm wondering if there's an ethical component to what you do together as well as, a component where you're just trying to learn about the latest developments and how to build things.
yeah, I mean, if I'm like, to be honest, if I'm building something like personally for a side project, don't look at, I wouldn't say I don't look at ethical concerns, but it's not on top of my list because it's like a personal project. It's only going to be for me. So when it's something like that, I don't. But like obviously, like I see the point that AI systems are like non-deterministic, so the output is not like predictable compared to traditional software systems where like, hey, if you press X, it's going to be Y. But in AI, it's like if we all prompt X, all of us might get X plus one, X plus two. Like we all get different. So like you're worried about like, hey, like is this ethically like right, or like does it actually give the right response? And to be honest, many companies face that as well. And like there are like on a personal level, I've not come across as that as much because one is the systems I've built have always been like, if I'm building for clients or like real businesses, every output is obviously cited. So I know the LLMs don't hallucinate while giving an output. So they give a source to every output, like, hey, this is where I got my information. So the LLM is not just making up like, its own information. And I also make sure that the eval, which is like the agent which creates the output of my agent, is actually built on real data sets and is approved by the business owner. So the business knows, or the stakeholders know that this is like the right like system to create the output of my system. So I would say that, but to be honest, like now it's like very early that many people, honestly, many businesses don't care as much for now for ethical concern, which is not good. That's what
Mhm.
I've noticed from my personal reading off the internet. And like some companies are using images online from people who have not approved using it for training their own models, or like some businesses are using code without getting approval from that business or department. So there's like concerns, and right now our system is very traditional. It's not built for the future. So hopefully that happens. But yeah,
Mhm.
sorry if I went like too long into that,
No,
but
no,
that's
it's
what.
no, it's really important to sort of because it sounds like you're not just putting in a prompt and then saying, hey, this looks cool. Let's. you're actually going back and looking at issues and then searching on how to fix it or how, what's the best way to address this or address that. And it and I get that because that's how you learn, right? It's like this, one part theory feeds practice, practice feeds theory. And that of course that actually I think works really well with AI. AI allows us now to do both at once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Hmm.
I think in the future, like we'll get like better with our ethical system, and hopefully our
Hmm.
system would improve. It should improve over time. I'm very confident on that. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And
Yeah, there's a
Ingrid
question.
has
Yeah.
something there. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
getting to.
are you members finding this useful to have the project share? Yeah, I mean, many of our members were able to talk about the projects during their internships and jobs. So many of our members, when they're doing interview, nowadays companies are like, saying that like a resume can be like nowadays resumes can be easily like you could put like fake, I wouldn't say fake stuff, but like you can like bullshit your resume, but when it comes to actually showing the work is what matters. So many of these employers are asking our members, hey, what have you built? And our members have gotten the opportunity to show the projects they've built as well. And it helped our club as well because when we posted our projects publicly, when we wanted to client projects in the fall, many companies reached out to us because of the projects we have built. So it's kind of like, it's helped the club as well, but it's also helped our members as well when they go through interviews and jobs. And just in general, I mean, I've always told our people to post their projects publicly. And some companies have reached out to them on public social media platforms just because they're posting it. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, I put the link for the repository into the chat, the systems we've built, and yeah. So there's like a repository called Spring Slides, which is like has the spring lecture slides of uh, what we thought in the spring. Yeah. Yeah. What's the next big thing in agentic AI? New platform or capability? That's a good question. If I could answer that question, I would be extremely wealthy. I mean, that's what everybody in the stock market is trying to figure out right now. So it's the next $1 trillion question, obviously, with the way we're seeing these companies like raise trillions, not raise, but being worth trillions of dollars in the public markets. But I mean, obviously, one thing people talk about is agentic AI, and like people are like, what's the big next thing? Like humanoid. One thing is like humanoid robots is one big thing as well, which is like you're building these agentic systems. Can you build that system for an actual like human robot or like a humanoid to complete that? So that's like one big thing. And to be honest, even with agentic AI, like the next big thing in agentic AI is agentic AI, because right now like not many businesses have been able to figure out to actually extract value. So the next big thing in agentic AI is like, how can we actually derive value, is what I think is what I'm noticing from publicly reading and talking to people. Yeah. No other questions. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a really good opportunity to be here. And yeah, thank you so much. And yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Ash. Thanks for all the people joining us. Do you have something lined up? Are you working now? Do you have something?
it to me.
Ash, you
Yeah,
got a job?
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was just busy with that. And I mean, yeah, the job market is going to be quite interesting in the future. Very, very excited for that as well. But yeah,
Okay. Good.
no,
No, appreciate all you've done here on campus and thanks for
no,
speaking to us. And
yeah,
I'm sure we'll be in touch. So,
yeah, for sure.
okay,
Yeah.
thanks,
Thank you so much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.